All right, everyone, we are live. It is Sunday, October 6, 2024. It's the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. That is Big Marcel. We're here to recap UFC 307. Marcel, I'm ready to go, man. I got all this energy somehow. I don't know how. I think I had a small nap, little cat nap this afternoon. Really small one, man, after bowling. But let's watch some football, and now I'm ready to go with you, man. Talk about UFC 307. We're going to recap the whole card. And we'll recap the contender series from this week. Almost done, Marcel. We're on week 8, and now this week, next coming week, will be week 9. So
yeah,
almost done that. But again, this show will be a UFC 307 recap for the most part. Let me get some comments, then I'll jump into it. We got Larry, we got Joe. Yeah, Joe, your team, Phillies just won, Marcel. That's Joe's team, Philadelphia Phillies. Tristan, what's up, man? Okay, well, I mean, there you go. Tristan's got a guy. On the next podcast, Tristan, we'll do the preview and we'll talk about your boy, okay? Craig, what's up, man? Glad to have you. Marcel, how's it going, man?
Yeah, man. Last week I said still fat and sexy, but I won't say it because my mom asked me the day after, like, why did you tell Adam that you were fat and sexy? So I'm good. So apparently she watched it.
She asked you that?
Yeah, apparently she watched it like the first 5 minutes or something. So I'm happy she doesn't watch the whole thing. But
bro, she better not to watch the ones when you're talking about how much you love certain women fighters like Natalia and stuff.
That's all good, man. That's all good.
We got Ghost in the chat. Welcome, guys. Glad to have you here tonight. But that's fine. I didn't know your mom was a fan. That's awesome.
That she gets apparently like I share like a Google account with her because so I have the pop up for this channel, so she gets a pop up on her mobile phone. You know what I mean? So
that's funny. All right, Marcel, we got a big card to recap. Let's start with well, there's a lot to talk about. So first off, by the way, a couple other people in the comments. We got Antoine here. Glad to have you here. Justin, what's up, man? Oh, that's a good question, actually, Justin. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. Not really, to be honest with you. Like, he's asking, like, do you get people that are hating on your tweets that go on TV? Mm-hmm. Not really. I mean, usually I feel like my takes are pretty sensical, you know? But once in a while, sure, you'll have a guy saying you're a fucking idiot or something. You're a clown. you're four eyes. You know, whatever. People are allowed their opinion. I mean, but the thing is, and I told you this, Marcel. This is why I do not drink when I'm watching these fights, because I don't want to tweet something really fucking stupid and get it on TV. Like it's. Here's the thing, like, and I know you're the same way, dude. I was tweeting for years before they even started doing this. Like, I tweet every fight, every scorecard, everything. Just so happens they choose me, you know, a couple times a night usually, and then you as well. So it's cool. It's always cool, and it's always kind of like, I don't know. You ever feel like, oh man, like you ever like, or like, oh shit, there's my name there?
I was surprised the first time I saw it when they chose my name, but at the same time, it's not like I do it because of it, and you also don't do it because of it, you know. So
I tweet regardless, dude.
For example, I barely had any time to tweet last night, so I think I only tweeted 2 negative things about the referee in the Poteria Almeida fight.
Oh, that was just funny. You can't wait to talk about that. But no, like. Yeah, a little once in a while, but the thing is, like, for the most part, I feel like my takes are pretty sensible, man. Like, I think my scorecards are good. Like, I usually don't get too much like negative feedback. You know, of course, you'll get the occasional hater, but not really. So that's a good question, but no, not really, to be honest with you, which is good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's been a good Sunday. I had my bowling league. I saw my daughter today; she was here. Watched football, Marcel. Now I'm here doing the podcast, so it's been a good night. We'll talk about Wonder Boy in a few minutes, Ghost, when we get to his fight. But anyways, let's get back to the card. So yeah, we'll start off with, like, I want to get into the picks results. Man, I had a pretty good night, 10-2. Missed on 2 split decisions. I could have easily went 12-0. So it was a good night for me. I thought I was gonna have a perfect night, Marcel. I swear to God. I think the hardest fight to pick was probably Tim Means and Court McGee. It seemed like that's the one that kind of like had people a little confused. I don't even know if confused is the right word, but most people picked Tim Means, right? I think I was the only guy in the staff picks, an odds breaker to pick Court McGee, and the other one would probably be, I'm going to give you credit, you picked Julianna Pena, you know, and it's not a popular pick. Most people thought she lost, Marcel, but she won. You got the pick right. I got the pick wrong. So I got to give you some credit there, man. I don't think she won, but the judges did, and that's the only thing that matters, right? So give you a shout out. I think you had a pretty good night too.
I started 0-2. I started 0-2. I still think that
fight? Oh yeah, Esparza, yeah.
That was for me a toss-up kind of, and What was the other one on the? Batista against
Batista and
Aldo.
Aldo was a toss up too. I mean, there was a few toss up fights. Where there was 4 split decisions, and I actually tweeted there was 5 because I thought as far as it was a split for some reason, but it was.
I picked Thompson over Buckley as well,
and that was also a close fight though, dude.
Crazy,
yeah,
you know.
I'm looking forward to talking about that one with you.
Yeah.
By the way, thanks, Antoine. I appreciate that, man. All right, let's get into it, guys. All right, so start with the main event. Work our way down. Main event. Alex Pereira defeats Khalil Rountree, 4th round knockout. One of the fight of the year candidates, I would say. Marcel, amazing fight. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about here, guys. Like it was fucking awesome, as you guys know. You guys all saw the fight. If you didn't, some guy tweeted the whole fight Marcel on Twitter. Do you see that?
No, I didn't.
I put it in the Discord this morning.
Okay,
I'm sure that guy's gonna get an email from Dana White or something saying
he gets his account banned or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Hey, for the good of the people, right? But yeah, the full fight's on there. It's on Twitter, or X as the cool kids say. Yeah, I mean it was an amazing fight. So here's my thoughts, and here's the thing. So I'll get your thoughts too, Marcel. I thought Khalil won the first 2 rounds. All 3 judges did too. I'm not saying that's a good thing because the judges were really bad last night, but I think that he did win the first 2 rounds. 3rd round started to get tired. Pereira picked it up. 4th round was all Pereira. I mean, if he didn't finish him, Marcel, it would have been a 10-8 round. He was battering the shit out of him. Bro, the pictures of Khalil's face out there are just fucked. Like it looked like his eyelid was gonna fall off, man. Like I thought his eyeball was gonna get popped out of his head. He looked like a character from that movie Saw, Marcel. Like it was just mass destruction. The amount of damage Pereira did to him in this fight, like people were saying, like now, like Pereira's gonna take some time off. How about Khalil? Khalil's gonna be off for like probably a year. He's gonna be off for a while. Listen, it was an amazing fight. Like I got to give Khalil all the credit in the world. I thought, and I said this last week, stylistically, he had a chance because it would be a striking fight. He had a chance. But ultimately, Marcel, you know, it's crazy that Pereira was so much bigger than Khalil. Like Pereira looked towering over. How did this guy make 185? I still have no idea. Guy looks huge. Eventually, the power, the size, just wore him down. And got to give Pereira a lot of credit. He had a lot of problems coming in this fight. He didn't talk about it until after. And he won the fight. So it's not like he's making excuses. He's just pointing out. He's like, I had a visa problem. Like I was going to the consulate every day to try to get my visa. He was ill. He had some injuries. He didn't look 100% right, Marcel, in the first couple of rounds. I was like, oh shit, maybe this is going to be upset. I really did, Marcel. For a little while there, I thought, man, maybe Khalil's going to win this fight. Like, because he looked great. But eventually the power and the size carried through and Pereira got the win and, you know, continues his superstar run here. The guy is, 9-1 in the UFC with 7 knockouts, and he's defeated like a who's who of fighters. He's an amazing fighter. Where would the UFC be without this guy? He saved their bacon so many fucking times now, Marcel. He's an incredible.
4 times.
Yeah, he saved their ass all this year and last year. Marcel, give me your thoughts on the fight, man. I know you love the fight too.
I mean, Khalil did very well early on, man. I mean, he wasn't afraid of Alex like many people are very hesitant, you know, and he wasn't. And I think he looked really good, you know. And Alex was throwing that right high kick way too many times, and Khalil timed it at a certain moment, and he pretty much. It wasn't a knockdown, but it was almost a knockdown. You know what I mean? He was like on his knees. I thought
that was a knockdown. I have to see it again, but they didn't count it as one. It seemed like it wasn't.
It was definitely, yeah, he was buckled or whatever you want to say it, you know.
Rocked, right? Yeah.
Yeah, rocked, yeah. So I first scored the first 2 rounds for Khalil. Then I had an argument with you guys in the Discord because the 3rd round, I know Pereira took over in the last 1.5, 2 minutes. Before that, man, I mean, Khalil tagged him another time, you know, where it was wobbly. And then he had that shot in the stomach where Pereira was acting really hard on, you know what I mean? So that's why I was kind of swayed to that. But at the same time, Pereira completely took over in the 4th round. And Khalil just didn't have the cardio to do it for 5 rounds, which is understandable at the same time. I think Pereira did very well. He was pacing himself, I think, through the fight. And man, he got it done the 4th round. Great win for him, you know. Listen, man, all respect in the world for Khalil's performance. Still think he shouldn't have got the title shot, but amazing performance by him, you know. But Matt Pereira is a champion for a reason, you know. 3rd title defense this year. Saved the UFC's ass 4 times, 3 times this year, 1 time last year. So, great win for him, and we'll see what's next, you know. I think and it was pretty much the highlight of the evening because like the majority of the cards sucked, you know. So and
I'm just looking at the stats right now, like according to the stats, and this is why like I think stats are great in MMA, but I also kind of like, you know, question them sometimes. Like they're saying that Pereira outstruck him in the first 3 rounds.
Mhm.
First 2 especially. Like, I don't know about that. I'd have to look at it again. I mean, they have their methodology. I get that, but it's a little odd. But the one thing I did want to say was, like, head strikes. Marcel, Khalil absorbed 92 head strikes in this fight. That's a lot. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah. Definitely from Pereira.
Yeah, he needs some time. Yeah, exactly. He needs some time off. By the way, Pereira, scariest motherfucker in the sport, right? Ever, maybe, potentially, of all time. He could be, right?
Possible. He's up there,
Yeah, he's going in the Hall of Fame. I mean, there's no question about it. His run in the last, 3 years, Mark. He hasn't even been in the UFC for 3 years, which is crazy.
That's amazing.
But the last 2 years, especially, and I would say the last year has been like nothing short of epic.
He's pretty much fighting the way almost a kickboxer's fighting, Kickboxing is way more often they're fighting than MMA fighters normally. And he's pretty much doing the same what normally you see in kickboxing, So it's really special.
Just going through I'm just looking at his career again. Like, I would say the guys that did the best against him were obviously Izzy knocked him out in their rematch, but Blachowicz, and again, Marcel, we've joked about this before. The Greek guy, Andreas Michailidis, that guy.
Yeah, first round, yeah.
Dude, I remember this is 3 years ago. People were like, I don't know if they used the term fraud check back then, but people were like, yo, this guy's overrated. Like, he's going to lose the fight. And then you saw what happened. He just went smashed him with that flying knee. Yeah, I mean, amazing performance. The guy's incredible. I know you're obviously going to say it, but Magomed Ankalaev is going to get the next title shot if he beats Rakic.
Yeah, if he beats Dana said, like, if he gets a win and
impressive, right?
It's impressive way. It was like, dude, you're trying to get out of it again.
They don't want to give him a title shot, dude. They don't like it. We've talked about this for 3 years, or not 3 years, but whenever he fought Jan Blachowicz, remember, and he said, he's like, they don't like me here and all this shit. Like, they don't like. I mean, listen, I don't think they like him after that. There's some issue there's some issue behind the scenes that we don't know about. I mean, there has to be, because it doesn't make sense. The guy's clearly good, and also the odds are out, and Ankalaev is minus 140 and Pereira is plus 120. I think those could flip potentially, Marcel, just because of Pereira's popularity. It wouldn't surprise me. I know you're going to pick Ankalaev when they do fight. I know that. Like, I don't even have to ask you because we talked about this. But for me, it's like, I mean, I think Ankalaev is great, but it's so hard to pick against Pereira at this point too, man. He's so good, dude.
Of course, he can get knocked out. I mean, I don't understand why. And I said, listen, man, I don't say Pereira. Pereira definitely takes that fight if they give it to him. The UFC is just protecting Alex. And why? It's like, match him up with Magomed, and if he knocks out Magomed, it's even much bigger, because for the Alex doubters who are still there, and I'm not really a doubter, or however you would say it, but I think he should fight Ankalaev,
Yeah.
If he wins that, nobody can ever say anything anymore, because then he has beat pretty much everybody at the top there, So
here's a better question then. I'm like, again, I'm pretty sure I did look at the odds like yesterday. Yeah. Ankalaev's a pretty big favorite over Rakic, but let's just say Ankalaev loses to Rakic. Yeah. Does Rakic get the title shot?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. What about Jamal Hill? Is he even?
No.
He needs another win, right? Like, why is he at all these like fights and he just like shakes his head and he talks shit? It's like, bro, you got knocked out. He's a great fighter, but he got knocked out and he hasn't done anything since then. So
I think he needs to fight Yuri, man.
But I think that's a good fight, but I wouldn't even mind Rountree.
Goes to middleweight.
I was gonna say Rountree. Rountree going to take time off, but yeah, Yuri's there. I mean, he's not a contender at this point because he lost twice, right? But he's still one of the top guys. And Hill and Yuri's a fun fight. So
what's Elberg fighting now again? He's
fighting. God, is it Reyes? He's fighting.
Ozdemir.
Oh, Ozdemir. Sorry, yeah.
He can fight the winner of that fight.
Yeah, sorry, it's Reyes and Anthony Smith. The other option is, and I don't know what he's up to, but Jan Blachowicz, again, he had a very close fight, and we've talked about this, Marcel. Jan Blachowicz went to a draw with Ankalaev, who's the number one contender, and he had a split decision loss to Pereira. Marcel, what if there was a different judge that night and they went split decision for Jan Blachowicz? The whole entire history of the sport changes. It's crazy, right?
It does, yeah. Because probably then also Pereira might have fought Ankalaev earlier, and what happens then?
I didn't think about that. That's crazy to think about. Dude, it's crazy. Like, and again, I think I did score for Pereira because of damage in that fight, but because Jan got really tired. That was in Utah too.
It was also in Salt Lake City, yeah.
Yeah, they go every year. By the way, do you like this Salt Lake City thing every year? Do you like these events?
No, I don't dig it at all. I think
too much for you.
No. I mean, listen, they paid for it, so it's all good. The UFC has to deal with them. I understand, but the thing is, like, if takes a toll in fights, I'm not really into it. You know what I mean? And you saw Rountree was
I think Rountree
slowing
got
down.
tired. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Also, the Lucindo Marina Rodriguez fight was pretty bad because
Julianna
of it.
Pena too got affected. I think she didn't.
Also,
that was kind of her fault. She's like, I didn't go to an elevation. I need it. I mean, she got tired of those last 2 rounds. But we'll talk about that in a sec. By the way, let's just go through the comments. I wasn't trying to skip you guys. There's a ton of good comments here. Brian, what's up? Didn't think I want to talk about the Guru Diaz situation. I mean, we'll talk about. I guess you could mention it after, but not right now. I know Marcel was joking.
We'll do afterwards.
Sure. Glenn, what's up, man? Glad to have you. Glenn, it is what 2 a.m. for you, or no 1 a.m. 1 a.m. for Glenn. He's in England. The week of refs and judging screwing over the fighters. We'll talk about them in a few minutes for sure, especially in that Cesar Almeida fight. Can't wait to talk about that. Khalil looked all-time good. Pereira had a cold broke. I mean, he's not wrong. Pereira was not 100% for this fight. And the fact that he won is actually even more impressive. But yeah, I still think Khalil's stock goes up. I still think it goes up a lot.
Adam, it does. And I see many people saying, like, Khalil beats everybody besides Pereira. And I was like, dude, the thing is...
It's a good stylistic matchup, right?
Yeah, but there are no fucking takedowns ground game in this fight, you know? If Rountree fights fucking Nikita Krylov or Jan Blachowicz, they're going to take him to the ground. I just looked at the stats. There was zero control time, like none, not even any like pushing each other against the fence. This was basically it was like a Muay Thai fight or kickboxing fight with the 4-ounce gloves, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't mind that. I loved it. It was a great fight. It's a great fight. Yeah.
I mean, and they definitely deserved the fight in the night bonus, and hopefully they got a little extra. I mean, I'm pretty sure Dana slipped these guys a little extra too.
Alter Koort got
Corby got fucked over. He should have got a bonus. Oh, Marcel jumped out. He'll come back in. Yeah, Khalil looked good. Oh God, I shouldn't even put that comment there. Glenn, come on, be nice. Alex busted Khalil's face. I know. Khalil definitely needs like 6 to 8. Or I would say even more, maybe like 9 months. How much time should Khalil take off? Like a year? Like 6 months? 8 months? 9 months? 10 months? 11 months? What do you think?
At least make sure this cut is healed.
That looks so bad.
And that is a real bad cut all the time.
We didn't coming into the fight. There was something there. I don't know what it is. If it's scar tissue or something, it looks like it, right? Like it's probably opened up before. Bro, that was so bad. That looks so bad. The good thing is Khalil's got what's that girl's name? Mia Kang, that Muay Thai fighter. You know, it's his girlfriend.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, he's got her to go.
Actually, I think.
Oh, it's his wife now. Okay, good for him. He's got her to go home too, so he's in good. He's in good hands. You know what I mean? He's in good hands. Yeah, Pereira. Man, the amount of damage. I watched the finish again, dude. It's so brutal. Like the body shots and then that uppercut, Marcel. So fucking brutal. Rogan Cox, the greatest striker in like heavyweight history. I mean, I would think he is, right?
Man, Rogan was already jerking off on a heavyweight title fight for Alex, man. He keeps doing that.
Who's a better striker in like heavyweight history, though? Like, I mean, Anderson Silva did fight there a few times, but I think Pereira's like the evolution of Anderson Silva, kind of. You know? I love Anderson Silva, though, man. He was great.
It's so difficult, man, because, I mean...
Sean Jones is probably really good, too. I mean, but he's well-rounded. There's some good strikers at light heavyweight. It's known for like Shogun, Machida, but these guys
put him at the top, then we're good.
top 3. There we go.
Yeah,
Khalil deserves a top opponent. Yeah, he does. Unworthy title shot for Khalil. I mean, no one's even talking about the PEDs. Like, I think people are almost forgiving him now. It's a weird thing, he didn't get a huge suspension for it. There's some sort of taking supplement or whatever, but it's hard to know. I mean, it really is hard to know, like. With like how much that affected. I mean, maybe he did look a little better because of that stuff. I don't know. Khalil and Yuri, it's a fun fight. How much longer is Alex having his prime? He's 37. I think he'll be good for another probably 2 years. But he's doing it smart because he's taking as many fights in as a short amount of time as possible. Mm-hmm. But he is a human being, and I think at this point he needs a break. The combos and dodges in round 3 and 4 were Pereira. Yeah, I mean he looked good in the 3rd and 4th round. I talked about that. The way Mark Goddard said the sound was Alex hit. Yeah, he just said it's like some FUD. Albert Volkan winner. Potentially. I know they really like Carlos Alberg, the UFC. They really like this dude. He's marketable, obviously, so I get it. Feels like UFC's scared we're going to run over Dagestani wrestle heavy champs. I mean, there's the thing, like, I don't even know if do you even consider Ankalaev like a wrestle heavy fighter?
No, totally not. He doesn't even have a submission win that thing in his record, so maybe one.
I mean, there was like the Paul Craig fight. Paul Craig. That was like that was the fight really where he was wrestling the most and he lost. Which is crazy. I'm just looking at his record. I guess and the Blachowicz fight too. I mean that fight as well. There was a lot of wrestling in that fight. But again, like it's smart. Like why would you stand and trade with that guy?
Exactly. Yeah.
Non's definitely in the mix. Like, I think Blachowicz needs a good fight. What about Blachowicz and Jamal Hill? Would you like that fight?
I'm good with that. Yeah,
It makes sense, right? Like, Jamal's got to get back in the cage. He's just always like, he's almost turning into a keyboard warrior in a way, Marcel, like, which is crazy because he's obviously a former champion and professional fighter. And I do think that fight could go differently with Jamal. Like, he got caught. It happens. It was a weird little thing with that reset, Marcel, where Herb Dean like stepped in and stepped out. It was weird, but he did get knocked out. I'm just saying, like, the fight could have gone differently. You never really know. I just think he has to earn it. I don't think he should be given it. Like, yeah, Yuri probably shouldn't have got that second shot, but it was short notice, and he did come off that win over Rakic, was like a fight of the year candidate too. Double bonus. He won 300,000, or he got 2 bonuses, didn't he? Yuri for that fight, didn't he get 2 bonuses? He got 600,000, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit, he made bank for that.
Oh yeah, I think he did. Yeah,
I think he did too. How does Utah have the money for the UFC? Okay, so I did look into this. So they have like this Utah Sport Fund.
No, Max did. Max got 600.
Oh, Max got 2 bonus. Sorry, guys, I was confused. Yeah, you're right. Max got 2, and then Yuri got 1. My apologies. Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was Yuri and Rakic was just fighting the night, but it was until the main event, right? I think that's what happened. Yeah. Max got 600,000. Okay, that makes sense. My bad. But yeah, getting back to this question, there's a few things. So they have like this fund where they're trying to encourage sports leagues to come to Utah, including the UFC, but also obviously they were the Phoenix Coyotes there, or Arizona Coyotes. Now they're the Utah Hockey Club. They obviously they have the Utah Jazz, and all the players were there, all the basketball players, which was cool. And then they want to bring a Utah baseball team there as well, and probably eventually a Utah NFL team, I'd have to guess too. So it is a growing place, Salt Lake City. But the other thing is, and Cyclocals mentioned this, Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz and the Coyotes, there's a connection to Qualtrics. That's his company. There's a connection to Endeavor and TKO. Fight Oracle was tweeting about this today. There's some connection. Like the companies are connected, so it just makes sense.
Anthony Smith's brother.
Who? Ryan Smith?
Yeah.
No. Pereira and Azamat, that would be good. Azamat's not, he's the thing, like, he's not that far back, but he needs a big win. Azamat's fighting, oh God, who's he fighting?
Krylov.
That's a fun fight. Yeah, Krylov's forgotten about too. I mean, he doesn't fight that often.
Yeah.
First UFC no DraftKings pulled the UK. Really? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, there's lots of other books. What is it? Paddy Power? Is that what it is, Glenn? That one? Forever should be ranked number 1 for Islam. After last night, I kind of agree almost, but Islam's great too. It's hard to say. Both of them, I mean, both are more deserving than John Jones, but Khalil could fight any of those guys. Khalil's right at the top. You guys think of any recent losses where fighter stock got up more than Khalil? I'd have to think about it, but I mean, he's definitely up there right now. There's probably a few other ones that, were recent. Let me take a really quick look. Can you think of someone off the top of your head? Like someone that lost?
Question?
Someone that lost, but their stock went way up in a loss, kind of.
Damn.
It's a good question. I'm kind of looking.
Someone who lost but got the stock way up.
It's a great question.
Ertzak?
That's probably the right answer. I would think Ertzak, but he got destroyed by KKF.
Yeah,
stock's way down. I would think him. I'm actually just looking through the main events. I think. Well, I was gonna say Chris Curtis probably stock went up a little bit, but not even. I wouldn't say even close. But he should have beaten Brendan Allen.
Felipe Dos Santos against Manuel Cap.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, it's a good question, but I'd have to like really dig into it. But yeah, I mean, those are some good questions. Even Volk when he lost to Islam the first time, but he's lost again, but his stock went up despite losing. That's another one. I think it's like when people do better than no one expected, then that you like their stock rises up. Poton and DD, it's not happening. Alex will never fight at 185 again. I'll say that again. Right? You agree?
Yeah, plus he said he doesn't want to interfere Strickland's way.
Yeah, so. Strickland and him are like, I like their friendship. It's cool.
Yeah.
If they fought each other, Strickland knows that Alex is the way better fighter. Yeah. But Sean, here's the thing. I think, and I don't know this because we're not privy, Marcel, to these sparring sessions or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think Sean's one of the only guys that can keep up with Alex and can give him kind of, I wouldn't say trouble, but he can keep up and he can take some damage and keep going. Like, he did get knocked out in that fight, but Sean is very durable for the most part. He's only been knocked out a couple times in his whole career. And I think that he gives Alex good sparring. That's why they keep bringing him in for these camps. Like, they flew him in, Marcel, for this camp.
Yeah, Sean didn't give him respect in that fight. He was like, he had, so.
But it's funny, and Sean, they're like, Sean, would you, if you fought him again, would you wrestle? He's like, no, I'd do the same thing. I would stand straight. He's such an idiot, but I love him, man. Crazy how people were saying Alex is popular single star. Yeah, I mean, he looked great. Jan and Jamal. I mean, here's the thing. We're getting a lot of comments. People love this fight. I mean, that's what I'm getting from this fight. Like, people respect Alex. They respect Khalil, and I love it. And yeah, exactly. Ryan Smith, he's like you said, he's rich. He's big name. And he's bringing the Utah these events. I'm assuming they'll come back next year. It looks like it's once a year, Marcel.
Yeah.
Australia is getting 2 events a year, right, Marcel? 2 pay-per-views?
I think with 2 pay-per-views, yeah.
They're paying a shitload of money too. What's the other place? Abu Dhabi. They pay every year to get the fights. And Saudi Arabia.
Maybe Saudi Arabia gets a pay-per-view now, you know?
I think they will. I mean, and also, is this true? Los Angeles, is that true for January?
I'm now hearing like it's either Los Angeles or it's Inglewood. It's like the new clip.
Yeah. It makes complete sense. You know what? That's where it's going to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the LA Clippers are moving from Staples Center, which is where they've been doing it forever, or Crypto.com Arena it's called now, which is such a stupid name.
Inuit Dome or something?
Yeah, it's called Intuit. I think it's Intuit Dome.
Intuit Dome, okay.
Yeah. That's where the LA Clippers are moving, which it makes sense because usually, Marcel, when they open new arenas, the UFC goes there. That's what they do. So that makes sense. You obviously heard that. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's not far from LA. It's like, you know, it's not far. But I think that's great. So I'm assuming it'll be DDP and Strickland, right? So
yeah, it looks like it. Or Makachev against Arman.
Yeah, it could be. Hey, guys, it's called Intuit Dome. I just double checked. Inuit is like the native people in Canada. So the people live in Canada. Tristan knows what I'm talking about. The Inuits.
Let me see.
What?
The name is Intuit Dome.
Yeah, Intuit Dome. Yeah. Steve Ballmer's that rich guy that owns the Clippers. He's a better owner than another guy, Donald Sterling, Antoine, that was racist and got caught saying all these bad words about black people. I don't know if you ever heard. I don't know if you're a big NBA fan, but they're like the owner was. He was saying like the N-word and stuff and got caught on like audio tape, and he was forced to sell his team, and the team's worth way more money, and the Clippers are good now. Well, they probably won't be that good this year, but yeah. Anyways, all right. And yeah, UFC's going to Chicago, and he also said Seattle. All right. I think that's enough I want to say about the main event. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Or
no, not really.
Okay, cool. So there's a lot of fights. We got to get going.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next fight. Again, I gave Marcel credit at the beginning. I'll give him again. You picked Pena.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I thought Pennington won. I thought she won 1, 4, and 5. I gave 2 and 3 to Pena. It came down. I thought it's actually going to come down to the 5th round. To be honest with you, that's why I assumed the judges were decided on. But 2 of the 3 judges went first round for Pena. So on 2 of the scorecards, the judges were 30-27 each for Pena, and one had 29-28 in a 3-round fight. Then Pennington obviously won the championship rounds when Pena got tired. Pennington dropped her in the 4th round. Nasty knockdown. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a great fight, Marcel, to be honest with you. I thought Pennington won, but I'll say this. And I do like Pennington because I think she's been in the UFC for over 10 years. She went to the top. She won the belt. And she's very tough and durable. I respect her as a fighter. But I'll tell you the truth, Marcel. It's better for the sport that she's not the champion. It's better for the UFC she's not the champion. I don't really love Julianna Pena. I think she's pretty cringe. She talks a lot of shit. She's not the most exciting fighter, but she knows how to cut a promo, and she at least will hype the fights up a little bit more. But I didn't like the call-up for Amanda Nunes. I thought that was lame. You're calling out someone who's retired when you had Kayla Harrison right there. She could have made a killer promo on Harrison, talk some shit. It would have sold the fight a bit better. I don't know. So she didn't do it for me last night, Marcel, to be honest with you. I thought she lost, but the judges gave it to her. She's a 2-time champ. And yeah, I want to get your thoughts on it, man. I can't hear you. I don't know what happened. Is it me or you? Guys, can you hear Marcel or no? Oh, he's going to jump out. I couldn't hear him. We'll see what he says. Yeah, I did think it was a great fight, Tristan. I'm with you. I mean, people get offended when you use the word boring to describe fights. I don't think it was a great fight. I thought it was kind of dull. I think a lot of people thought that. Are you back?
Looks like it was me. So
what the fuck happened?
But yeah, you asked me the fight. Yeah, man. I mean, for me,
your scorecard too.
2 and 3 Pena, 4 and 5 Pennington. It was about the first round, and the first round for me was a toss up. So it's like I said to you, like it can go both ways, and that's what I also said in the Discord, where I think people say it was a robbery. I don't see it as a robbery, but I understand a lot of people think that Pennington won, definitely because with in mind the 4th and 5th round, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a super close fight, in my opinion, you know. And I mean, I said last week in the I think as well in the podcast, like the longer the fight goes, the more I favor Pennington. That's why I picked Pena by submission, you know, in the second or third round, I think. But yeah, I feel like it could have gone both ways. 48-47 is defensible for both. So if you scored it for Pennington, I'm cool with that. If you scored for Pena, I'm cool with it. But it got to be 48-47 at least for either way, you know.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's pretty much, and it was kind of boring, you know.
And the call out on Nunes lame, right?
I mean, I pretty much knew she was going to do that, you know, but it's just like, you know, Kayla Harrison is getting the next title shot. It's like, why are you even trying to get a third Amanda fight? And definitely, listen, that second Amanda fight was so one-sided.
I know.
Where she only had one chance with a submission, I think in third or fourth round. But besides that, it was so one-sided. Why you wouldn't do that the third time?
Bro, I'm looking at the scorecards. 50-43.
Yeah.
Like it was, we don't need to see that fight again. I just don't want to see it. Now, here's another question for you. So everyone, and we'll talk about Carla Esparza in a few minutes. I was going to say everyone, but a lot of people are saying she's a Hall of Famer now, you know, especially because she won 2 titles. Well, Julianna's won 2 belts now. Is she a Hall of Famer because she's won 2 titles?
Oh, that's a good question, man. The thing is, like with Julianna, and she also won tough, just like Carla.
And tough.
So yeah.
She's only 8-3 in the UFC though. Like she doesn't have a long, you know, record.
Yeah, the thing is, like Esparza has been like dominant in the beginning, you know, and also before she was in the UFC, and that's not what Julianna, you know. So there's a little bit of a difference, but I understand what you mean. But for me, if you Pena, I don't know, you know, but Esparza should be there, and it's like the thing is, like a lot of people were hating on Carla because of it, but you cannot like deny the accomplishments she did in MMA, you know. And if you like her or not, I mean, I think she deserves to be in there, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, a couple comments here. Ed saying Julia has some durability issues. Yeah, I mean, she got knocked down, but I also feel like she was tired. The elevation hurt her, I think. Can't see a path to victory for Julianna beat Kayla. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think Kayla looked great, personally. We'll talk about her in a minute.
Yeah.
Was the champ ever a big underdog? I have to think, but I mean, I don't think so. Like, who?
Definitely a Shevchenko and Nunes fight. 100%.
Bigger underdog?
I think Shevchenko has been a minus 1100. Joanna against.
No. He's saying against the.
The challenger.
Yeah. I can't think. I can't think of it.
Maybe Valentina against Nico Montano, maybe when it was supposed to happen.
Oh, when it's supposed to, yeah, because I didn't. Nico Montano fall off the face of the earth. I mean, there's got to be someone else. Like I know Jones fought Shogun; he was the favorite. Like it happens occasionally.
But not a massive favorite, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but it's I can't think of anyone. Like if you guys
let
can
me see
someone,
if I can get the odds on Montano against Shevchenko.
Sure. Yeah, I mean it's a good question. It's a great question, actually. I would say. Maybe a canceled fight. I don't know. I mean, maybe it'd have to be a women's MMA fight.
Yeah, most of the time.
Right?
Here, Montano or Shevchenko was minus 1400.
Where are you seeing that?
ESPN.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Marcel has a great. Look at you, man. You genius. You genius. You. Good call.
Genius.
You're surprised UFC did this live stream for Kayla? No, because she's next. Like, I'm not surprised at all. They wanted her to call her and talk some shit. The Nunes call out is the worst call out since Buckley called O'Connor. I mean, I think it's even worse because Amanda's retired. At least Connor's like technically active while he doesn't fight.
I think Buckley one was worse, but both were worse, equally worse.
Julianna's weakest champion currently. Maybe I'd have to look at it a little bit more. Is she?
I mean, was Raquel maybe? So
it was Raquel. It was. But when you say like, and I hate to say it, but again, isn't it better for the sport that she lost? Like, she's not exciting, dude.
Yeah, you know, I said it in the Dutch podcast. It's like Dennis and Gilbert were talking about 30 seconds about Raquel, and they said 5 times the word decent. I was like, that's exactly the thing. She's decent, but nothing like jumps out. It's
No.
like, listen, I have nothing against Raquel. I think she's a really nice person or whatever, but her fighting style is just doesn't really like give a shit,
No, I mean, it's like I said, I think it's better for the sport in the end.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next fight here. Mario Batista defeats Jose Aldo via split decision. Okay, guys, so I picked Aldo. I bet him as a dog. I liked him here. Here's the thing. So most fans, I think, thought Aldo won. I looked at the media scorecards. It's split in the middle. Like, people were split in the middle. I kind of thought Batista edged it out. I know that's a minority take probably with the fans. People are going to hate on it. I'm just being honest. Like, I picked Aldo. I was hoping he would win. I was like, please get the win. But I thought Batista was going to get the nod. And it comes down to the third round. And yeah, I mean, it was ugly pushing against the fence. It's shitty. It's an awful way to fight. It's an awful way to lose or to win, I should say. It's just awful to watch. I still think he did a little bit of damage in the clinches with the knees and everything. And I think he just like controlled the round for the most part. And although he did land more strikes, especially in that last minute, I just don't think he caught up in time. I think Aldo looked pretty bad in this fight, honestly. I don't think he looked good at all. I wasn't impressed by Aldo's performance. I thought he looked great against Jonathan Martinez. And I thought, okay, he's going to outstrike this guy. Batista looked really good in the first round. He outstruck Aldo. Second round, Aldo took over. And then third round, it was a coin flip. It could have went. It really could have went either way. It was a split decision. I know a lot of people thought that the judges got it wrong. I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, it's a huge win for Mario Batista, dude. I mean, he moves to 9-2 in the UFC with a 7-fight win streak, and it should earn him a huge fight. It was an ugly way to win. It probably didn't win many fans. I think people hate the guy now, but yeah, I mean, I thought maybe he edged it out. What do you think, man?
The massive problem with a lot of fans is like they get their fandom into their scoring, you know what I mean? So they only look at what they want to see and not what the opponent does. For me, it was like Mario Batista won the first round. Aldo came back in the second round, did pretty well, was 19-19 going into the third round. And I think Batista edged it out, It wasn't beautiful to watch, but he pretty much did what Merab did against Aldo in the fight,
Dude, it was similar. It was very similar. And I will say this. Remember, we broke it down. I don't think my breakdown was off. I was like, he's not going to take him down. He didn't get one takedown, but the fence pushing is something I didn't really consider as much. I didn't think Batista had it in him because I'll tell you, when I went to see Aldo fight in Brazil against Alexander Volkanovski did the same thing to Aldo. He pushed him against the fence, Marcel. That's kind of the way to beat Aldo. You can't take him down, but you can push him against the fence. And I'm looking right now, Volk did the same thing. He landed more strikes, obviously. But yeah, Merab did the same thing.
Aldo doesn't adjust, He just let himself. He kept himself to get them to push against the fence, and then he gets loose, and then Batista pushes him against the fence again, and he doesn't get loose,
Yeah.
So, listen, man, I think I also was on Aldo's side. I actually bet something on Aldo.
Nice.
I mean. I wasn't mad because I thought it was the right decision, and I'm a massive Aldo fan. Everybody knows that, So,
yeah.
But listen, man. I mean, if you look at the rules, Batista did enough to win the fight. So 29-28 isn't that off. And I think, listen, if you want to discuss a fight, and this for many fans, stop being biased, for a fighter.
Yeah.
If you want to be really honest in discussing a fight, I understand like that some people thought maybe Aldo just edged it out, but don't call it a robbery, because it definitely wasn't a robbery.
I mean,
so
it was basically even in the strikes landed. There was really there was no grappling for the most part, except for the fence pushing. It could have went either way. Honestly, like Aldo's been in some of these close fights. I remember when he fought Marlon Moraes. That was another fight that could have went either way too.
Yeah,
and, he ended up getting a title shot.
I actually thought he won that fight, and he lost that fight on the scorecards. But I thought he won that fight against Marlon Moraes.
Yeah. By the way, Bipolar Boxing says I bet Aldo Rocky thought they both lost, so I picked them both. I thought Rocky won, and I thought Aldo lost. So there you go. Do you think Aldo's coming back for the paycheck? No, I think he was going for another title run. But the truth is, though, like I don't know how much it sets him back because UFC loves him, fans love him. He could probably get another win and still be a top contender. I think they could still do the Sean O'Malley fight.
Of course they can.
Yeah, and I think they probably will. They want him to win to set that up, beat his teammate. I think it still sets up that fight. Batista, who should he fight? Corey Sandhagen, a rematch? You like that?
I would say no. I'm going with Marlon Vera.
That's a fun fight. Marlon Vera is very durable. 5-round Apex main event, probably something like that.
Yeah.
Aldo Cruz, that makes sense. I don't mind that at all. Cruz, if he doesn't fight, I mean, honestly, Marcel, he should not be ranked. Cruz has
I
not fought in
agree.
2.5 years. Why is he ranked? It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. All right,
Still
next
about
fight.
the weight vote, in my opinion, but I agree.
Yeah, no, for sure. Roman Dolidze defeats Kevin Holland. You picked Roman too, right? We both did.
Yeah,
last
we
week.
both did. Yeah.
So he looked good. I mean, I thought he was going to win the fight. He looked like a weight class bigger, which he basically is. Like Kevin should be fighting 170. Kevin got injured. It was hard to watch. He obviously had something really badly broken. I think it's a rib or something. I'm not sure if he's given an update. I have a few thoughts about the fight. So I think Roman did exactly what I thought he'd do, which was wrestle. You know, he took the fight to the ground. It was smart. And he beat him up. I would score the first round 10-8. One of the judges did. Two of them went 10-9. Would you go 10-8, yes or no?
Based on that last minute, yeah, probably.
Dude, I think the fight should have been stopped. I really do. I don't know if, I know he was rolling, but I don't think that's intelligent defense. Like, I think you should stop it. I don't know.
I mean, beautiful submission by Roman, and he got his black belt after.
Yeah. I know.
I
funny,
mean,
right?
That's
For a knockout.
Yeah, I mean, if you deserved, he probably deserved the black belt already. You know, he probably deserved it, and they give it to him after the fight. But it looks always so weird when somebody gets a TKO or like an injury, and then you award the guy a black belt. It's like, you know.
I completely agree. I want to say that remember Andre Fili? Didn't he knock the guy out and they gave him that piano key belt? Remember that? Like,
yeah, I don't know what that belt stand. He also still
Jeremy Larson. That was the fight, his debut, and they gave him the keyboard belt. It was so weird. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he still wants to get that rubber ducky belt. He has to be the black belt with a submission in a pro MMA fight. So
that's funny, but yeah, I mean, hopefully Holland's okay. I got a few problems though with this fight too, with the corner work. The corner asked him, like, what do we do? What do we do? Like, that's your job to stop the fight. I know eventually they did call it, Marcel, but they shouldn't. Like, Kevin obviously was injured.
I can't understand. You know, I agree with you that the corner should step in if they think they should stop the fight. At the same time, we are still on win.
That's why. Is that? Do you think that's why? Because the win show.
Yeah, we're still on that, you know. So
yeah,
and he gave Kevin the chance. He's like, "Do you want to continue?" And Kevin didn't say yes. He was like, "I don't." And he's like, and then the coach was okay. We're stopping it, you know. And I think it's the best. Was the best thing for the coach to do. So yeah,
fair enough. Yeah. I think Kevin needs to go 170 back there. Like you see Roman, he looked way bigger. I mean, he's a 205er. So big win for Roman though.
I think Kevin was longer, but Roman has a much how do you say that? Much
stronger, bigger
build. Yeah,
way bigger build. I think Roman should probably fight the winner of Pereira and Anthony Hernandez. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah, it was like Pereira. Yeah,
Michelle Pereira.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, why not?
That's that's not next week. It's in 3 weeks. So
main event, 5 rounds. Yeah, why not? You know.
Weeks. Yeah, exactly. It makes sense. I think it makes sense. Put on his black belt for the Hill fight, didn't he? I think he might have too, actually.
Yeah, he did.
Knock him out and get the black belt. All right. Kayla Harrison defeats Caitlin Vera. Vera's decision. I had 327. Some people scored the second round for Vera because of that elbow she landed did some damage. I get it. Harrison won the fight. I wasn't impressed. I don't think she looked that great. She didn't really look like a minus 1200 favorite, even though she won. She still got the title shot. Obviously, she's 34. She's 20 fights into her career. She's ready to fight for the belt. She's a huge favorite to win the belt. She probably wins in that fight with Pena. I think it's going to be a closer fight than people think, though, when they fight Marcel. I don't know who I'm going to pick yet. Because honestly, at plus 500, it's almost tempting to take a shot at Pena in that fight. Yeah. I think she has a chance.
I mean, man, they didn't brought Kayla Harrison to the UFC to not let her fight for the belt after 2 wins against Holman and Vieira, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, she won. Was it impressive? No, but she clearly won the fight, you know?
Yep.
And I mean, Vieira was like the number 1 contender pretty much because Raquel was like the champion and Pena was number 1 and she was number 2. So she was pretty much the next contender. And she beat the next contender. So she deserves to fight for the belt, whatever she did, you know? So
she beat number 2. She beat number 2. And I think that beating Caitlin Vieira is a pretty good fighter. I mean, she's got good takedown defense. She's got okay
strong,
striking.
Man.
Yeah. And she was ranked 2. Like, if you were saying, oh, Norma do much to fight for the belt. No. Norma has a nice win streak. Norma
can rematch Macy Chiasson, I think.
That makes sense, doesn't it? I think that's the fight. I think it is the fight. The other option is, and this is Glenn, I'm with you, Valentina.
I was hoping actually for I think And I said that I was thinking maybe Alexa wins again against Valentina, and Valentina goes back to 135 because I think that's for her a clear path to the title there, you know. So
I think Valentina beats Julia Pena. See, they fought before and she won. I don't see why she wouldn't again.
I also think Valentina might beat Kayla Harrison, you know.
She could. Valentina's, I mean, she's a legend. Like, you talk about Hall of Famer, she's a lock.
Oh, 100,000%.
She's one of the best women's fighters of all time, for sure. Happy to see Kayla come to the UFC. We won't have the what if. Yeah, me too. Women's bantamweight, older division. It's not great. It's not great. There really isn't, a lot of excitement there right now.
Wow, 15 to 25 are the most fun divisions for women in the UFC.
Oh, for sure. 35. Okay, Kayla is obviously the big draw right now. Yeah. Norma has looked good. I'll give Norma some credit. I think Macy looked good in her last fight. Those two are, they can fight. I think Carol Hossa is pretty exciting. I like watching her fight. Man, some of these girls don't do it for me. Like, I don't really enjoy watching Pennington. I don't really enjoy watching.
You're a big Yana Santos fan.
I was going to say, like, Yana Santos. She looked good in her last fight. I'll give her that. But I don't, like, Misha Tate, I don't like watching fight. I like watching Brayna Silva fight. I'll give her credit. I like her a lot. Julia Avila is not too exciting, Marcel. GDR is a little long in the tooth. Aileen Perez, we don't, she's got a nice win in her last fight, but I'm not a huge fan. And then Chelsea Chandler, I don't know why the fuck she's ranked. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, Jacqueline Cavalcante should probably be ranked. I don't just love strikers, by the way. I like grappling-based fighters, too. But
Adam got a poster of Josiane Nunes above his bed.
Forgot about her. I don't know how she's at this weight class. She should be at 115.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would say, Marcel, and I'm not trying to be like too negative right now. I think it's the worst division in the UFC right now.
Yeah, I think so too. And with the men, it's heavyweight, man.
No, I mean, heavyweight's got like a bunch of contenders now. Ryan Dick's coming in, man.
Yeah, but still,
heavyweight's not great, but there are some guys that you get knockouts too. At least.
Let's say I'm happy there were no heavyweights on the card yesterday.
I'm glad they stopped doing that at Elevation. Yeah. Like, it's so awful when they do that. Macy's good. Macy should fight Norma in a rematch. They had a split decision the first time. We think Dana's shitting on PFL from the Kayla video. I mean, I don't blame him. PFL's weird, man. Like, I'm going to watch their card. I think it's next week. I want to say it's next week or 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks, that Giants Battle of the Giants.
The problem with all these promotions who are like trying to run against the UFC, they're so focused on the UFC, man. Yeah. It's like so stupid. Don't do that, And
also, I don't know why, but they're going the same. It's the same time as the Pereira and Hernandez card. Like, I don't like that. I wish it was a different time slot.
But they also got to understand, like, you can be like, and listen, I watch PFL, I watch Bellator, I don't care, I watch everything, but the PFL and Bellator, I like the fights,
Yeah,
they're not gonna win against the UFC, not even to a fight night card. It's just that simple,
Yeah. Well, we got Fight Talk in the chat. What's up, man? Glad to have you here. Appreciate the artwork as always. All right, let's go to the next fight, Marcel. Joaquin Buckley gets the knockout over Stephen Thompson. Massive win. I mean, you talk about stock prices up there. Calls out Usman, too. I love the call out. I think it's a great call out. Buckley has looked amazing at welterweight. 5-0 with 3 knockouts. This was by far his best win. Okay, so my thought here's I'll talk about what's next for him in a sec, but I want to talk about the fight itself. It was a really close fight. All 3 judges had different scorecards. I thought Thompson was winning the fight. I had him winning the first 2 rounds. How did you have it 1-1 or what did you have?
I had it either 1-1 or 2-0 for Thompson. So
yeah,
it's like
one judge had a 2-0 Buckley, which I don't agree with. But
I honestly think Buckley didn't even look that great, in the fight. But he got like extra. How do you say that? He went pretty much for broke in the 3rd round, and he tagged Thompson very hard.
That knockout was so nasty.
Amazing knockout, man. I mean, I'm always definitely yesterday. I was happy when it was a finish that we didn't have to go to the scorecards. You know what I mean? So yeah, well done by Buckley.
Buckley is 10-4 now in the UFC with 7 knockouts. He's great, and also that knockout over Impa was 4 years ago now, which is crazy. It feels like it's taking a while to kind of get back to this spot. I am a big Buckley fan though. I like him a lot. I think he's great. He's entertaining. His fights are always fun to watch. He's a great fighter. I mean, he's got everything. He's got wrestling. He's got the striking. And this is a huge win because, honestly, Marcel, Thompson's actually one of the harder stylistic fights, I think, for him. I like this Usman call it a lot. I think it's a fight that makes a lot of sense. Usman, if he wants to get a title shot, beating a guy like Buckley who has all this hype makes sense for him, too, to get back in the win column because he's lost 3 straight fights. He can't really be begging for fights or calling guys out right now, It's a fight that makes sense. By the way, what's up, man? He says the end of Wonder Boy 1-4.
He's still
Sadly, you're
good,
probably
man.
right. He's good, but I the durability's, man. If you finish the 2 straight fights, the durability's going.
Yeah, but let's be honest. He got finished against Shafkat. He lost to Bilal. He lost to Gilbert Burns with ground game. He lost to Buckley, which was a competitive fight. It's not like I still think he beats a lot of these guys. Although he's already 41. But will he be a champion or whatever or top 5? I don't think so. No. But
I do too. But at the same time, I'll tell you the truth. I would not be surprised if this was one of those UFC roster watch cuts that we get shocked by. But when you think about it, because the amount of money he's making. What?
I'm with Antoine.
They could do this fight. They could do this MVP fight. But they've said they don't want to fight each other. They've talked about this.
I don't give a shit. Do it.
Thompson's like, it's going to be a boring fight if we fight. It makes sense. I'm just saying, like, we do see occasionally ranked guys get released. He is 41 or 42 now. Mm-hmm. And he's lost 4 or 5, and he makes a lot of money. And remember what happened last year with Utah when the fight with Pereira got canceled. They didn't want to fight him when he missed weight. Pereira missed weight, and they didn't want to pay him his show originally. I know they ended up doing it, but they were going back and forth with him. Yeah. I would obviously. I mean, he's still good. I mean, he destroyed Jeff Neal. He destroyed Vicente Luque. He's beaten a lot of guys in the top 15. Holland. I just wonder, man, the amount of money he's making. The UFC's always trying to, save a dollar here, dollar there. It wouldn't shock me if we saw him on UFC roster watch and everyone's like, "What the fuck? This is crazy." It wouldn't shock me, dude. That's all I'm saying.
It's always funny to me when somebody's on roster watch and people are like, "Oh my god, he's cut." And it's like, no, his contract's
up. Yeah. No, I
don't know.
I know. He'll probably get one more, but I'm just saying, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. They've used him to build up these prospects.
Yeah,
or
true.
Not to say prospects, but contenders.
They tried with Holland as well. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. It didn't work out too well. All right, Yasmin Lucindo defeats Marina Rodriguez decision. We picked Lucindo on the podcast. I wasn't too impressed, dude. I expected a lot more from her, Marcel, personally. I thought Rodriguez won the fight. Rodriguez won the fight. Who'd you score for?
I think Lucindo won 2-1. I think it was a close fight. We were discussing this actually in the Discord because I think you said like that you thought it was a poor performance, and I said like she's still super young, and it's not like that she cannot grow from this. She's 22, and she fought like pretty much a top contender a year ago. Was on the bad streak pretty much. Yeah, she won Michelle Watterson in between, but she lost to Lemos, and then she lost to to Andrade.
Yeah.
So I was like, it wasn't like how you say it, like this gonna propel her into the top, and she's gonna get it. But she will be probably top 6, top 7 next week. And I mean, it was an okay fight, but it wasn't something spectacular. And maybe I think your expectations were just much higher than mine were, I think.
It's more just the fact that she had all these dominant positions and really didn't go for damage and didn't really try to advance positions. I don't like when people just throw each other in the ground. The chin and the eye. We didn't talk about that. That's a great point. That could was it Mike Belt? Yeah, Mark Goddard. Hard warning, lose position. I mean, to me, dude, we've seen a lot of fights that they used to. Remember the guy Igor Vovchanchin from Pride? He used to do that. He has a few wins like that. That could be a point deduction. I think it's possible it could be the point deduction, which would have been a draw. Actually, wait, would it have been a draw? Yeah, it would have been a majority draw because Rodriguez would have still won the one scorecard. But anyways, yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I wasn't too impressed, but she's only 22, so yeah, like she's gonna have better performances. But Rodriguez, I mean, you talk about 1-4, she's 1-4. His only recent wins over Michelle, who's retired. So I don't know. I mean, it's clearly she's on the decline, Marina, but her striking's still good. It's her grounding is just terrible, man. It's about as bad as it gets. Her takedown defense is terrible. It's so bad. All right, Alexander Hernandez defeats Austin Hubbard. Split decision. What the hell happened here? So first off, we talked about this fight last week. At the time, Hernandez was like 2-1 favorite. He closed as a small underdog, which is crazy to me. All this money came in on Austin Hubbard. I didn't really understand it. I thought it would be a competitive fight, but to me, Hernandez clearly won the first 2 rounds and lost the third. That's what 2 of the judges scored it. Chris Lee, 30-27 for Hubbard. That's got to be one of the all-time worst scorecards. That's horrible.
Yeah, the dude was better in horror movies as Christopher Lee. What an idiot, man. I mean, how can you score that 30-27, I think it was like first 2 rounds, like you said, for Hernandez and third for Hubbard. And then when I hear the judges' scorecards, you hear the names from the judges like, oh my God, it's a split decision, And then I hear 30-27 Hubbard. It's like, what the fuck? How can you score that 30-27 Hubbard? So it's like pretty much so Leonard Garcia also won all of his fights. It's like we're going forward and we're just throwing. We don't hit anything. But hey, we get the 10-9. It's like super. Didn't make sense. I'm happy for Hernandez. He won. I think he needed it. So I'm happy for him. And he deserved it to win, and it's back at 155, which is much better for him.
He needs to stay in this division, but I think if he had lost, he would have been 1-5, and he would have been cut. So he saved
probably.
He saved his career. Hubbard probably gets one more fight, but Hubbard, man, like he's just an okay fighter. Like he's nothing special. Like he's kind of like meat and potatoes type fighter.
He's like what they normally put on the prelims in the Apex, pretty much. I know this.
Again, you talk about this. This fight really fell out of place on this card, didn't it?
Yeah, I feel that's what I said.
I know it was short notice, right? That's the thing. It was supposed to be Nate Landwehr, which makes sense, right? Because
but Nate Landwehr against Hubbard also didn't make sense.
Yeah, I know that was weird too. I think it's because he was moving up to 155. They're like, okay, it's like a gatekeeper kind of.
They also wanted to do, I think, Rountree against Mitch Ramirez. I think because Ramirez said he couldn't fight on this card, and Rountree was like versus to be announced. So I think, and I don't know for sure, that was the fight, actually. You know what I mean?
Too bad that the fight didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much with you on this. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We have just a few fights left. Okay, this one is...
Jesus, man.
Yeah, so Cesar Almeida defeats Ihor Pereira's unanimous decision. I mean, clearly won the fight. Obviously, he won the fight, right? But this referee, Dave Selly's Tad, I don't know how to say his last name. Do you know how to say it? It's a weird one.
I don't know how you write it. Let me see.
Seljestd. If anyone knows how to pronounce it, it's a tough one.
Dave Shellstat?
Yeah, it's probably something like that. Yeah. Please never ref a UFC fight again. I was so glad it was his only fight of the night. I think they said that, right? He had no more fights. Bro, this was like an all-time bad performance. Horrible reffing. Cesar, okay, so we joke about this all the time that you can land a few eye pokes and a few nut shots and you get a warning. You don't even get a warning. You're like, don't do it again. Mm-hmm. These were like blatant eye pokes, really blatant. Like Ihor was damaged from them, and then the breakups for the clinching against the fence. Listen, none of us like the fence pushing. It's not fun to watch, but it was like 1 second. He's like, work, and then all right, broken up. Like 1 second. It was crazy. All-time worst referee performance is up there. The fight's almost just comical. It's almost like someone was joking about this, saying like sometimes like funny fights are better than like good fights. Like I would say like this fight was shit, but the reffing made it entertaining and funny and worth watching. Dude. This ref sucks. This ref should never ref a UFC fight again, or at least go back to the minor leagues and do some training and work his way back up. He's clearly not ready for a UFC fight. This was a terrible fight and a terrible ref. I mean, this fight sucked. What do you think, man?
Imagine being worse than Chris Toyoni, man. I mean, this dude, he didn't even call like 2 or 3 eye pokes. He was like, yeah, fight on. It's like, and then Ihor actually took his time after the nut shot, and he was like wiping his eye. He did that problem with the nut shot with his eyes. So, all-time horrible referee, man. And I had almost a feeling like that he was a massive Shogun fan and he still was mad at Pereira for the dancing and he beat Shogun or whatever, And I'm just gonna say, or he has a massive bet, I don't know. But that's I didn't trust this guy at all. It was so blatant that he was like he had something against Pereira, I had the idea, because also weird. Was really stupid, and even, listen, if he gave Almeida 2 points deducted, he would have still won. He would have won 28-27, So it's, didn't make sense, man. Absolutely horrible, and wasn't also a great fight, but Almeida won. Yeah.
It was just, like, as bad as can be. Almeida, he wants top 15. I don't think he gets it after this, to be honest with you. I wasn't impressed at all. I like Cesar. I'll give him this. His grappling was better. He almost had that guillotine. That was pretty tight.
I mean, look at what Michel Pereira did to Pereira, and he's barely in the top 15.
I know, you're right.
Cesar Almeida be in top 15.
No, he shouldn't be. You're right. By the way, this guy, Larry's right. If he was did ref in the Aldo fight, then we would have been But even then, like Batista was just diving for those cage pushes after every breakup too, right?
You know what fight I make? I make Cesar Almeida against Edmund Shabazian.
Sure, that's a fun fight. But I mean, Edmund lost his last fight.
Yeah.
Actually, they're probably going to do Ihor and Edmund. I think they'll do that.
But
I wouldn't cut Ihor. I would give him one more fight.
Me too.
But I do think he'll probably end up being on the UFC roster tracker. Marcel being a cut. I think he'll have a little X next to his name. He's 2-5 in the UFC. It's not good. So, and the lack of the win bonus, the win show system, Marcel, it's fucked. You know, and this isn't like the old days with Lorenzo Fertitta when they were, you know, they would slip to those win bonuses. Remember they used to tweet out like we thought the judges got this wrong. We're going to give it to this guy, or like the referee screwed this guy. We're going to pay him his win, but they never do that anymore.
No, it's like we thought the judges got it wrong. We have some extra money for the casino later on.
Hunter said they paid off the judges. Yeah, I mean, it sure seemed like it, right?
I was like Hunter. I didn't.
Oh no, Hunter Campbell. No. No. All right, stop fight. 2 more fights. Okay, Tisha Pennington defeats Carla Esparza. Unanimous decision. Very close fight. Could have went either way. I thought Tisha won. I don't know. I think you thought Carla won, right?
The thing that was like, I had it the first round for Carla, at the second round for Tisha. The thing was the third round. I thought it was pretty even, you know.
It was close.
And I thought Tisha just gave it away in the last 20, 25 seconds. So, I mean, I didn't have a problem with Tisha getting it. I thought Carla did just enough to win the fight. Yeah. And man, I think she never got so much cheering on her part from the audience, you know. So good for her.
I completely agree with that. I mean, she like the fans hated, you know, the decision. Obviously, I'll say this: few things. First off, Tisha Pennington plays with fire every fight. She goes to these really close decisions. Yeah. She usually loses them. So I'm going to give her like a pass here because I thought she beat Tabitha Ricci and I thought she beat Mackenzie Dern. So I thought she should have won those fights and she got lost split decisions. She won this one. She's terrible to bet on. Do not bet on Tisha Pennington, Tisha Torres, whatever. Don't bet on her. I keep calling her Tisha Torres.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
Bro, don't bet on her fights because it's always a close decision and she often loses them. So it's awful to bet on. She has no power at all. She's just like, she sticks and moves. Her takedown defense is bad too. Also, I'm going to say this. I watched the post fight. Tisha said, I thought I lost the first round 1, 2, and 3. I agree. What did you think of some of the, first off, one of the judges had 327 and some of the tweets had 327 or the first round for Tisha. I don't agree with that. I mean, I understand damage control. I get that. But like Carla had dominant positions. She was moving positions. That wins her the round.
Even the authority of scoring also had 10-9 for Tisha in the first round, you know. You know exactly what I mean.
I don't agree with that.
No, me neither.
It came down to round 3 where I thought Tisha won 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And then the last 30 seconds, Carla went into mount, started raining down blows. If she had like an extra 30 seconds of that, she would have won the fight. It was close, you know, but ultimately I thought Tisha eked it out just like Dirty Reg said. I thought so. You bet the overs in her fight. They almost always go over. Tisha fights way closer. Completely agreed. I don't know, man. She's just her. Tisha Pennington and Raquel Pennington they're just not exciting fighters, both of them. But you know, they often do win these fights. So I don't. So it's actually Marcel. You know, the one girl in their relationship loses close decision, and the other one wins one. It almost evens up a little bit, right? And I always talk about this too.
I think they would have preferred the other way around this time.
For sure, because more money, right? For sure. Looked like Tisha lost herself because she looked surprised when Bruce said her name. Yeah, I mean it was close, man. It was close, but yeah. And then opening the main card, I get to give myself a credit here, Marcel. Only one on MMAOddsBreaker.com stock picks. Court McGee, I picked him. I told you he'd wrestle. I knew it. Gets the win. And I missed a fight. My apologies, guys. I missed the Ryan Spann fight. I'll talk about that in a sec. Sorry,
I didn't even thought about it. Yeah,
I know. I missed it. Sorry. There's so many fights in this card. But no, let's talk about Court first. Court should have got a bonus. He hasn't got one since 2010 in his debut. I thought Court should have got the bonus instead of Ryan Spann.
Yeah.
But he looked great. Amazing performance by Court.
I would have gave all the finishes a bonus.
They should have. I don't know why they didn't because they're cheap. But and then Ryan Spann, we'll talk about that really quick against OSP. The thing is, like, to me, like, OSP is like 42 years old. Like, I know Tim's also like 40, but the thing is, like, Tim was the favorite, you know. OSP was the underdog. Dana always talks about the odds at the contender series. Oh, he's a big underdog. That's why we're signing him, you know. McGee should have got the bonus instead of Spann. They had to pick one, but they should have given it to both. That's my thoughts. But Ryan Spann, great performance. I still don't think he's that good. That's our honest opinion. I think he loses to all the top guys. Anything else you want to say?
I can't agree with it. By the way, man, I had a beautiful underdog parlay and it didn't hit, man. It kind of sucked. I had Pena in the parlay, I had Aldo, I had Esparza, and I had Dolice.
What's sports book do you use? What's it called?
It's like a friend of mine did it for me, so I didn't do it myself. Yeah. So yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah. No, fair enough. Don't tell the government that. I was joking. Mean should never been too. Nah, mean. Even you said you're like, it should be a pick'em fight. Like the odds were way too high on this fight. Tim's gonna get cut. I think that's it for Tim. I really do. What do you think, Marcel?
This is very possible, man. I hope for him he gets at least one more. But man, I mean,
I don't think
it was very quick, man.
I think he goes to bare knuckle fighting. I don't think he can grapple. Right? I think it's a striking fight, and I think there's fun fights for him in bare knuckle.
Tim is a fun fighter, yeah, definitely.
I loved him. He's great, but he's always had a problem with grapplers, and he had in this fight. Surprised the as far as the retirement thing was listen, it was nice to see, but I was a little surprised how long it was. It was very long. I told Marcel I went to the bathroom to take a pee, and I went downstairs to get some food, and I came back up and it was still on. I was like, what the fuck? Like what?
I told you they was gonna do that, man. The thing is,
it was really long though.
Yeah, as far as announced before the fight that it was her last fight. That's why they did it. They did also with Robbie Lawler. They also did it with they didn't do it with Arlovsky. I think Arlovsky didn't want it. So
yeah, because I think Arlovsky still wants to fight. Like he wants to keep fighting. So
I
think Arlovsky probably ends up in like PFL or maybe bare knuckle too. Yeah. I think he'll keep fighting, even though he's like 45. Oh yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, I'll ask him. I'll answer that in a sec. But really quick, out of 10, what do you think? Honest question. What do you think out of 10?
5.5.
I'd say 6. It was an underwhelming card. I had high hopes for this card, guys, and I'm just being honest on here. You know, on Saturday, which was yesterday, and me and Marcel talked about this before. Marcel was like, I'm not looking forward to this card. I don't think this card's that good. And I'm like, Marcel, shut up. Like, you're being like a downer. Basically, I was like, they basically called you out on it. Yeah. And you ended up being right. I'm going to give you your flowers. You were right. This card wasn't that good. I had high hopes for this card, man. I don't know. Why didn't you think it was going to be good? Why?
The whole week, you know, I work for Eurosport, right?
Yeah, of course.
So the whole week, it didn't felt like a pay-per-view card to me. And there weren't like many fights I was really hyped for. I felt like the wrong fighters were fighting the wrong fighters, you know? You had like Dolice against Holland. For me, okay fight, didn't make sense. Catlin against Kayla. Fun fight. I would have preferred Kayla to fight for a title, whatever, you know? You had Aldo against Bautista. Aldo should fight another legend, in my opinion, not an up-and-comer like Bautista. I know Bautista's already a little bit older. You got, in the main event, you got Pereira against Rountree, who should have never been in the main event against Pereira. And it doesn't matter, he did amazing, don't get me wrong, but he shouldn't be there, you know? The only fight that I thought made kind of sense was like Marina Rodriguez on a skit against Yasmin Lucindo. The Wonder Boy Thompson against Buckley, I had no problem with, you know? But all these other fights, I wasn't like hyped for it, you know. And it's not like I want to talk down or whatever, you know. But that's how I felt. And for me, it's like I give it a 5.5. I would have given it a 3 if the main event.
Dude, the main event saved this card again. We talked about this. Like Alex's fight saved the card because it was up to the main event, guys. It wasn't great. I would say that the only fight really worth watching again is probably that fight, and then. You know, some of the finishes, like I think whenever Court McGee's like one of the top guys, like I love Court, but like it's not like a ringing endorsement of the card. I would say his finish like was nice. Ryan, I think Court just had a great performance. I really do. Like overall complete performance. His boxing looked good too. We didn't talk about that. Sorry guys, I'm really excited about this pick. Like I made such a nice pick here that I was just like hyped up about it. But like Ryan Spann, like he got a nice finish, but like OSP is done. You know what I mean? And OSP didn't really come to fight either. And then I guess Buckley's knockout was nice. So that's it. Like I wouldn't watch Pennington ever again. I wouldn't watch Bautista Aldo ever again. The Dolice fight, yeah, it was a finish, but you know, it was an injury. I would never watch Harrison Vieira again. I would never probably watch Lucindo Rodriguez again. I guess Hernandez Hubbard was an okay fight. It was a decent battle. What do you think? It was an okay fight, I guess. The third round was nice, I guess. The third round.
It was okay, but it's like It's like a replaceable fight. You know what I mean? It's not bad, but it's not like that. You say like in a year, like, damn, dude, that fight.
Yeah, I know. Like, I guess the only other fight I'd watch probably again is Cesar Almeida and Ihor, just because I want to see how bad the ref was again. You know?
Yeah.
Anyways, it wasn't great. All right, let's go to. I'll take a few more comments by the way, and then we'll go really quickly. Contender. Yeah, I thought Core would retire too.
Also,
I think Tim's going to retire though if he doesn't, get cut. Go ahead.
also,
From UFC.
what was some of the media sucking up Dana after the card? Like,
They always do.
Amazing card, Dana. Thank you
Dana,
so much.
thank you for coming here. Thank you, Dana.
It's like
really quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Really quickly. The MMA guru thing because people were asking about it.
Yeah.
Glenn asked about it. Yeah, because you said you were going to give your thoughts.
So,
by the way, but really quickly, this comment's fucking hilarious. He says if Hubbard Hernandez is the conversation best fight.
That's true. Yeah.
Hey, Marcel, I'll let you have the floor. Go ahead.
So I listen, man. You guys, I'm not really a big fan of Amy. We had our problems, online, but I kind of feel bad for her. I think it wasn't a necessary treat, but the thing is, like, I also said in the Discord, there are people who's going to quote tweet that shit and they're going to keep replying to it. And then it keeps getting traction and you keep showing on Twitter. So you're pretty much doing nobody, how do you say that? You don't do Amy a pleasure with doing that, although you probably meant well. So, and then Nina got into it or whatever, and Guru replied to her again. And the thing is, like, I don't mind Nina, but I'm also not a big fan or whatever, So the thing is, like, Nina said, like, called Guru Cloud Chaser, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of weird to say that coming from you.
Calling the black as they
say, right?
Exactly.
So, but I'm not bothered by it or whatever. But I was like, I mean, obviously, and we all watched the how do you say that, the presser, and we saw the picture. I mean, yeah. I'm fat myself, so I'm not going to say anything about somebody else's body weight, So
I just think it's lame. I mean, it's not really something you should joke about.
I agree.
People. I mean, like, it's stupid. Like, I think, if you want to criticize Amy for asking about Power Slap, like after the main event, I think that's fair game. I think that question, like, you're talking about Pereira and Rountree, then you go to Power Slap. Come on, like, that's fair game. But like talking about her appearance is really like just low. But again, Marcel, like, and you talked about this too, like, you feed the trolls, like it works against you. Like, it works against, and I think Guru gained followers and gained money out of it too. Like,
of course, I mean, so it's listen, the people still, for some reason, like, and 80% of the MMA media was replied to, still don't understand social media. Apparently, if you reply to something or you quote tweet something, that tweet gets traction. How many people it views. So where Nina Drama also quote tweeted or replied to it, she has over like 200k followers, I think.
Yeah,
it gets more traction. You know what I mean? So even when you mean well, but yeah, I mean, I don't understand sometimes. Listen, if you want to defend somebody, sometimes it's better to not reply. Or listen, if you really cared about what's said, you could also reach out to her in DM, I think, Yeah. So, but many people wanted to. That's the real problem with society these days. If they want to show, how do you say that? If they want to show some, they are with you or whatever, they have to do it in public.
Yeah.
Do it by DM. I mean, probably Amy and Nina follow each other.
I prefer doing that too. I just reach out to people. Like, I didn't reach out to Amy, but I've reached out to other people.
Neither.
Like, she's got to fight her own battle, man. She's a grown up. She's a big girl. She can fight her own battle here. But like, I think that it was completely out of line and uncalled for, and it was really nasty. And the only good thing is like, in a way, we already knew that that's how the guy was like, right? Like, I don't know the guy. I don't really have an issue with him, like, per se, because I don't know him personally. But I do know that, a lot of people, he talks a lot of shit about a lot of people. Maybe this gets him on the radar of, like, bigger people, like fighters even, because who was the fighter that said, like, come to Vegas and I'll fight you or something? I can't, someone was saying that. But
was a guy like Merriman or whatever is his name?
Oh, Sean Merriman used to play in the NFL. That's who it was. He's like, hey, Amy, I got your back or something. Yeah, I saw that. He used to play for the San Diego Chargers and the Buffalo Bills. So, anyways, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I again, she can fight her own battles, man. It's nothing to do with me. And we lost a lot of viewers from that, so I don't really care. All right, really quickly, Marcel, let's go to Contender Series really quick. We'll go through the recap. 5 contracts, Marcel. Jacoby Smith gets a contract. Torres Finney gets a contract. David Martinez gets a contract. Alberto Montes gets a contract. And Dr. Ngozi gets a contract. Give me your thoughts really quick. What do you think?
So let's start with the first one, Jacoby Smith. He looked really good, man.
Yep.
He deserved to get the contract, I think. So yeah, not
Yes,
much
sir.
to say there. Sucks for your Canadian guy again, but yeah, it is what it is. Then we got that. Who was after that? Torres Finney.
Yeah, Finney.
Yeah, great win for him. Happy for him. He got signed. I think he deserves it as well. Then we got that fight where Dana got the stiffy from, and I was like, it's not that amazing, and he came into the cage like, oh guys, was the Franklin against Martinez fight, I think, with David Martinez, like the brother of Melissa Martinez. He got a contract. Yeah. I think it was a deserved contract, no problem with it. Then we got the Calderon guy against Montez. Good win by Montez, although Calderon really started well, in the fight, short notice. And then that last fight was kind of sucked, man, for a long time, until DR got that high kick and he pretty much stopped him. I think the Polish guy was doing pretty well, and DR was kind of like waiting for that one shot knockout punch or kick, and he got it. It's good win for him, and he got signed. So yeah, I think the most impressive guy probably was Jacoby Smith. And Torres Finney was pretty impressive as well, but I don't think the Spanish Moroccan guy had any ground game. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that I wouldn't have given. It's crazy it sounds. I know people are going to disagree with you. I wasn't too impressed by David Martinez's fight.
Me neither.
I didn't, and then I don't know if you saw post fight. Things like, this guy's special. This guy could fight in the top 15 right now. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, what did I miss? What did I miss from this
everybody agree with you in the Discord as well, and I agree as well. I didn't see it either. And also, they were like the first brother and sister in the UFC.
Yeah,
it's like, we forgot about Mizuki and and Naoki.
I think Torres had the best performance on the card. Personally, I think he had the best one. Torres Finney, I think.
Oh, Torres Finney, yeah.
I mean, you could say Jacoby Smith, but I also feel like that Christian Savoy guy was short notice. Or actually, no. Torres took the fight short notice, right? Yeah. I don't know. They were saying Jacoby Smith is an amazing prospect. I don't know. I just think he's fighting a guy that doesn't have a ground game. Personally, we'll see how good he is in the UFC. The Montez fight was very fun. I don't know how good he is, but the fight was fun. And then actually, DR looked good too. I'll give him credit. He's, that thing with the eye, kept touching his eye. That was weird too. I don't know if you wanted to. If you agree with me on that, but yeah, overall it was an okay card. I think again, 4 contracts is kind of like the regular. Have they given less than 4 this year? Have they given 3 ever?
No.
Or, yeah. Well, again,
last year one time only 3. Yeah.
Al Zulino had a really good tweet last week saying that if the UFC offers every fighter 3 fights a year, they can't have this. They have to have double the amount of cards or something. Like, there's not enough cards right now for the amount of fighters on the roster. They're going to make a huge amount of cuts. Like, you know what, Marcel? It's probably going to happen around Christmas. They're going to send them their cut letter in the mail.
It's so nasty, right?
It's so nasty. It's a brutal business, bro. Yo, aren't you glad you're not a professional MMA fighter? Yeah. It's shitty. It's a shitty way to make a living, Well,
I would have probably been in better shape, but.
Well, yeah, that yeah. You'll probably get more women too, right? But or guys in your sake.
For your, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I think that's good for this. Anything else you want to mention really quick, or we're gonna go to
that you like a lot of eggplants. That's the one.
Oh, me, yeah, for sure. Anyways, let's end the podcast. We really appreciate you guys joining us, obviously, once again. But we do have a second podcast, guys. We're gonna do UFC Vegas 98 preview, so that's exciting. This one went a little bit long, Marcel. We'll try to do a little shorter.
I'm going to show us eggplant on that podcast. So.
Oh, stop it! By the way, we appreciate you guys' comments. Just give me like 2 minutes. I'll get the tweet out, and we'll do the UFC Vegas 98 Roy Val versus Tyler preview.
One question before we start the next one: do you show the eggplant before we start the breakdown or afterwards?
That's a good time to press the end screen button.